Hello, Legacy Tubers, and welcome to another Let's Play series with me, BlueAnkylo. So, you're in for a treat here, and we're gonna have to explain what's going on a bit before we get started, but, yeah, for long-time viewers of the channel, hey, look, another Might Magic game! Woo! It's about dang time. Yeah, Might Magic has been a series close to my heart for a long time, and one of the foundational blocks of my channel, back with Might Magic 6, and then eventually 7 and 8. I'm gonna skip 9 for now and go to X or 10, and we're gonna do a nice Let's Play. Should be lots of fun. Now, just to keep everyone in the mood, this game came out 2014, so quite a lot after the original Might Magic series, and it's actually been quite a long time since when I'm recording it here in 2022. So it's about 8 years old nowadays. It's gonna feel like it's older than 8 years old, though, I'm gonna say. This is one of the maybe black sheep kind of feeling of the series, and the last game in the mainline series, basically, after a big long break from 9 to 10. So not everyone loves this game. I actually didn't mind it too much. I think you have to go into this understanding that it's not the same sort of game as 6, 7, 8, or 9. This is for the time, the mid-2010s, a modern remake of actually the earlier Might Magic games, like 3, 4, and 5, where you have grid-based overworld and all of that sort of thing. So you'll see once we get into the gameplay, we don't have like a full 3D, 360, up-down kind of motion. We just have kind of like a dungeon crawl, like Legend of Grimrock, or lots of the old-school D&D style games. But that doesn't mean it's not fun, but no real-time combat or any of that 3D sort of thing. So, yeah, we're gonna get to it here in a second. I have not played this in a long time, so I'm gonna be a little bit rusty, but when the game came out in 2014 or so, I did play through it 2 or 3 times, so I am quite familiar with the game, but, you know, it's been a very long time, and BlueAnkylo's getting a little old. He starts forgetting some details. Although I have, like, replayed the first couple levels just to make sure that my plan will work for my Let's Play here. So the announcement, which probably the description mentions, but the plan here is actually to do a bit of a challenge run, if you want to call it a challenge. We'll see if it is a challenge. We're going to make an all-mage party, so it's really Might, Magic, and Magic X. And we're going to ignore the Might... we'll do character party creation in just a second, but I'm going to ignore the Knights and the Scouts and the Rangers. We're going to go Mage, one of each Mage. And this will make it... some parts of the game will be more difficult for sure, but it should be fine. We'll do okay. I've done 2 different challenges back. It's been a long time, like I said. I've forgotten some of the details, but I have done an all-might party with just the 4 fighters, like fighting style classes, and I have done a full magic party. But this was a long time ago, and you know, I've probably long since forgotten a lot of important details. So we'll just have fun. We're gonna play on warrior mode. I don't think the game is actually super difficult. And we, of course, want to make our own party. So you get 4 characters, and there are 4 races with 3 classes each. This is one of those parts of the game that's not, like, super amazing. There's not a lot of character creation to go off of, but it's got the basics. So I'm going to start with a dwarf, although I will do one of each. And dwarves get some natural fire resistant and hit points. Or health. I'll interchange mana and MP and health and hit points all the time. Don't worry about that. But yeah, dwarf. You know, they're a little bit sturdier, but nothing too special. And then you've got like a pure fighter class, the shield defender. It's actually one of the worst fighter classes. A ranged scout that is okay. Actually, I think this guy's got some good tricks to it. The ranged units are like... bows and crossbows are not very good in this game, let's just be clear, as a general rule of thumb. But scouts can do some cool stuff. And then there's Rune Priest, which is what we're going to start with here, who is a fire mage, sort of foundationally. And eventually, once they get promoted, they'll get a cool special ability called a Searing Rune. Now, I'm going to be taking 4 characters from my, 4 names from my YouTube membership list. So, hey, if you want to be randomly selected in the future, you gotta be a YouTube member. I mean, sometimes I just take suggestions from comments, but I feel like I've been a little bit, I have forgotten or just haven't used my paid subscriptions for a little while. So we're gonna pick some names from there. So I'm just sort of randomly selected, but some people who've been long-term viewers on the channel. And so Grotham gets to go first. I'm pretty sure this is a good one for Grotham. We'll even go heroic voice.
Choose me!
There's not even as many options or voices or pictures as there were in some of the other Might and Magics, but hey, you know, you get what you get. So starting with a fire dwarf, and you only get 2 skill points to start with, so you get to choose 2 skills to add to your collection, basically. The glowing ones you start with for free, so we start with spear, which we don't really care about as a mage party, but we do start with fire, which is lots of fun. And that'll be Grotham's primary spell. We're going to also pick up... Well, I have some long-term plans, and I want to make sure I get my short-term plans right. So just for mechanically speaking, if you see these little chevrons underneath them, 1 chevron means you can only... So this is like your arcane weapons. You can use them in melee to deal damage, which they're actually pretty good at, and they don't use any mana. And they also increase when you level them up your spell casting critical hit damage or rate or something. So this makes your spells do more damage, and it gives you a undodgeable melee attack that doesn't cost MP. So rather than spears, just scale it together. And we're also going to pick maybe mysticism. One of the biggest problems early game with an old mage party is you don't have a lot of mana, and once you run out of mana, you can't kill anything. So mysticism gives us more mana, so more number of spells. Alternatively, you could go like arcane discipline for magic resistance, dodge for physical evasion, endurance for more hit points or health. You could learn how to use a shield, but again, we're not going to really need shields. Or you could be better with medium armor, which also doesn't really matter much. And then you've got the different magic schools. So, unlike, Might Magic 6 or 7, you can't just learn any skill, any skill set, and you can only train them up to certain tiers. So, anyway, that's the plan for Grotham. And I can change the plan at any date in the future. I might pick up crossbows at some point if I feel like it. You could probably make an argument starting with a crossbow on a mage-only party would be quite helpful, but I'm gonna stick to my challenge of using magic. And then you got some stats. They kind of changed them a little bit here. Let's see, what's the best way to explain it? Might we don't care about because it's melee damage. Magic is effectively generally magic damage as a small scalar, so plus 2% damage or healing. Basically effect. I think it increases duration as well. It's just magic power. Perception is primarily ranged attacks, which we're not going to use, and I would say ranged attacks kind of suck, but it does affect hit rates, attack values for melee as well, if you're doing melee. Destiny is like critical chance, but it goes up very, very small, like 0.25% per point, and evade, but there's other ways of getting evade. Vitality just gives you some health, no big deal, nice flat bonus. And then Spirit gives you more mana, which is all we really care about for a while. I will eventually invest a bunch into magic, but early game, getting more mana is what we need. So anyway, 1 down, it'll go a bit quicker now. I'm going to say the next tankiest character will probably be our Orc. So an Orc has bonus critical damage, which spells can critical hit. And a 20% chance to not get affected by conditions, which is not a lot, but it's something. And again, we've got a barbarian if you want to use melee, hunter for kind of a hybrid mage. It's hybrids. It always looks like melee ranged magic, but it's probably better to think of them as melee, some sort of hybrid mage for each race. And hunters, although they do focus on spears and I think bows, they do get some magic. I mean, we can look at it if you want to see here. They get a little bit of magic focused on spears and bows, but they get like master, I think grandmaster spear and only master bow. So they are really more of a melee class than a magical class, but they kind of focus on dodging and stuff. So like what I'm trying to say is it's not necessarily a ranged class. But shamans are the magic primarily ones. And one day, once we get promoted, we will restore mana when we take damage. It's not a lot, but it's not inconsequential, but I wouldn't get too excited about it. There you go. So next up, we're gonna go with one of our female characters here for no particular reason. And this is gonna be, I don't know if I have enough spaces here, but we're gonna go rides with, it should be rides with queens, but we don't have nearly enough. We'll just go rides with. And again, same basic idea. We need mana early on. Oh, wait. Almost picked the wrong one. We need spirit. Get that mana. Very nice amount of MP for you there. Our next character, we'll go with the druid. So druids or elves, I guess, to start with. They get some earth resistance and some evade, whatever, doesn't make a huge difference. They do have probably the best ranged class, if you want a ranged class. And they also, I don't know, I think when I did a melee run, Blade Dancers did the most melee damage for me. So, elves are actually, like, they might be the best race, because druids are amazing spellcasters with really good healing and support abilities. Rangers are probably one of the best ranged attack classes, and Blade Dancers are the best melee class. So, elves, of course, being good. Anyway, we're going to go with druids. Druids will eventually get an ability that probably does nothing and stops enemies from attacking, but yeah, we'll see. But they get a little regeneration. Just every turn someone gets healed a little bit. I think this 20 to 25 might scale on your stats, but it might not. If it doesn't, this is not very impressive, but whatever. So our next name from my list here, let's see. Oh, some nice silver hair. Another YouTube member. we'll pick Jirao for this one. And maybe heroic voice this time?
Choose me. Such a beautiful forest. Wait, something's not quite right.
Very posh. We'll go with that. And so our druid here, we've got a fire specialist and air specialist. The druid starts with water and earth, and I'll tell you honestly, earth is really good early on, but getting Grandmaster Earth is not super valuable. Like, sometimes the Grandmaster spells are not that impressive. So I think Jirao will probably focus on water primarily, although we might invest in earth early to get earth going. And I've also thought the plan might be to pick up a little bit of Light Master or Primordial, depending on how things go. We'll skip air, but you know, we've got 2 more schools that are kind of backup. My plan is to have like 1 primary and then 1 or 2 secondary spell schools for each of my mages. And again, magical focuses and more mana is pretty good, you know. In theory, you know, you could use a dagger and a bow, but they just don't cap very high, and I'm trying to stick to my mage challenge run, right? I'll probably pick up Arcane Discipline at some point, and maybe Endurance for some people later on, but those are lower priority than getting some spell points out. So yeah, Water Mage primarily. So Earth gets us a lot of regeneration and healing. Water gets us some really powerful spells later on. You can get poison off of Earth effectively. And depending on my spread on the other characters, this is another character that can Grandmaster Primordial. And I need at least 1 person with Primordial Expert pretty quickly. So, could be Jirao, could be somebody else. And then, again, it's kind of like Air or Prime, depending on how I feel like it. And, yeah, just get a bunch of mana, and done like dinner. Okay, we got 1 more character. No problem here. And this will be our human mage, which is not my favorite. Of the 4 mage classes, I think the orc mage might be the weakest, but humans are also not my favorite. Humans get a bunch of free skill points, which is kind of nice. And a little bit of air resistance, which is kind of whatever. The mercenary is one of the better melee classes. Crusaders are one of the best hybrid classes because they turn into paladins. I think they can get light grandmaster. Their Crusader paladins are really good. Mercenary windswords are really good. And free mages they're like the purest of the mages. They're the most magey of the mages. Time stop is actually pretty OP. Freeze time. You can't attack enemies, but you can heal your allies or buff up or whatever. It's pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty fun. And this one, but it doesn't have a lot of offensive spells, except like 1 specific offensive spell. And dark magic doesn't have a lot of offensive spells either. It's got some support and some debuffs. So like, we kind of need a damaging type spell. And I'm kind of thinking air is my... Because you can technically Grandmaster it, because I'm kind of thinking air might be one to go with. I I also was thinking of starting with light, so that we've got celestial armor available early on, which is quite useful. The only other person that can learn this would be our rune priest, and they didn't have a lot of spell slots. So I think we take air and light as our starting ones, and I don't know if I'm going to invest in light on this character. I think it's going to be a little bit of dark, probably a lot of primordial. This will be my main primordial mage, and then air is going to be good for some offensive, but we could technically switch light, air, fire around in any order. It doesn't really matter. I could pick up water if I want a secondary water caster. I just can't GM them all, basically. In case you're wondering, in the course of the game, there's a sort of a maximum level. It's difficult to you can't really grind extra XP and stuff like some might magics. There's no respawning enemies. So the best you can do is get to like level 30, 31, 32 by the end of the game, give or take. So you kind of have a maximum skill points by the end. It's somewhere around 90 to 95 skill points is about as much as you're probably going to get. Seeing as it costs 25 to Grandmaster 1, you could theoretically get 3 skills to 25, that's 75 total, but you might not get 100 points in the whole game. So 4 is kind of impossible. And if you take 3 up to 25, that's 75 points. That doesn't leave you a lot extra for sort of a tertiary or secondary skill, like if you want to put points into endurance or arcane discipline. So my plan is really 1 or 2 grand masteries, and then a bunch of masteries to sort of support that for most of the classes. So that's kind of the plan, and we'll see what happens as we play along. And then yeah, the free mage will be the most frail and likely to die. I don't know for sure if being in the last slot makes you get hit by enemies less. I don't actually think it does. I'm pretty sure targeting is random in this game, and it is what it is. Anyway, that's my party prep. That's our team, and we can still learn more skills. Just because we start with these skills doesn't mean we can't learn more. So no big deal. But that should be a good start. Let's learn about the story a little bit. I forget the story entirely.
What is the meaning of a dream?
Dang it, loud.
Only Asher knows. Are they omens warning us of future tragedies? Distant memories dying in the deafening silence of...
Sorry about this, guys. I cannot control...
void. Or are they sometimes both? The death wish of some ancestor, bargaining with the dragons that his legacy be carried on. Last night I dreamed such a clear vision of past events. Terrible things I had wanted to forget. They refused to fade away, demanding, pleading to be told one last time. This story begins with Muriel escaped the justice of wish of their mentor. They were called raiders, but would soon be known as legends.
Yeah, or they'll die in 5 seconds, but one or the other. Alright, sorry for the volume skip there. That was... You know how it is. You can control the in-game volume, but you can never control the cutscene volume. I'll have to tab out and re-up it once we get to here.
Do not let the name Raiders fool you.
Sorry.
Do not let the name Raiders fool you. They were not mere brigands or adventurers only interested in glory and gold. They believed in a higher calling, an ideal of honor and courage. These values were the legacy of their mentor, Owen, a raider himself, and a veteran of the Battle of Hammer Fall.
Should really stop using the word raider.
In a way, it was also their mentor who had led them to the Aegean Peninsula. He had been a son of Carthal, and before his tragic death, he had asked his students to bring back his ashes to the city of his birth, to be buried next to his ancestors.
So all we're here is to just bury some ashes, no big deal. In and out, 15 minutes, no big deal.
To honor their master's wish, they boarded the first ship willing to take them to the west. As they disembarked in the small, peaceful harbor of Sorpigal by the sea, they could not suspect how far this journey was going to take them.
We've had New Sorpigal, but now we have Sorpigal by the sea, the second. Okay, we got ourselves a game. So, hope you enjoyed the Might and Magic history dump of all the other... I can't remember exactly how far that goes back in Might and Magic lore. I'm not a Might and Magic historian. I listen to the stories, and some people I know probably think they're pretty amazing. I just sort of be like, yeah, when do I kill the dragons? Gossip. Duchess Irina. There's a lot of talking. In the first couple episodes is going to be city exploration. You know the drill. Duchess Irina has many contacts in the Lotus Empire. They even consider her one of their own. Since her rise to power, the Wolf Duchy has opened many trade routes with the Nagas and the free cities far to the east, like Hammerfell. Maritime commerce is flourishing with her rule. But as one would expect, so is piracy. The free city of Foster's Reach, in particular, has become a pirate haven. The Duchess had to strengthen her navy to protect the merchant ships, and as a result, many a knight embraced the life of privateer. Welcome aboard. I don't think we can actually sail anywhere yet, because, you know, rebels and stuff. But one day we can go to these other towns, like Carthalan. Right. Okay, so quick overview of the game. It is a tile-based overworld, squares. You can see coordinates and all that. So, you know, I can't free look. No, you can sort of free look. Yeah, I remember that. Right click and drag. But you can't move anything but 90 degrees kind of thing. I'll try to use free look every now and then, just because, you know, it's kind of nice looking around a little bit. Let's see. We got our inventory. It's got, you know, it's classic RPG style thing. You equip a bunch of slots. We do start with an apprentice orb, as well as tribal spear. So the skills you start with kind of determine what spells and equipment you start with. You know, nothing too complicated here. Experience, status afflictions, your class. They give you some combat stats if you're curious about all the specific numbers. I guess having a higher magic damage shows you the magic power multiplier, all that kind of stuff. Pretty straightforward. Let's see, what else could we show off real quick? We got potions, we got some spells here. We'll go over that once we get into combat. Each of the 4 characters. So we got like fire magic, air and earth magic, water, earth magic, and air, light, darkness, and also dark or primordial. Yeah, okay. So the free mage has lots of stuff. And we'll change around the hotbar and stuff. We've got 2 what do they call these guys? You know, the little guys that join you and help out for a little while. We've got food. I think it's just 1 food per rest. And you can stock up in towns, usually. You know, money, classic. We have known spells. You kind of get all your spells here. This is your skill system. So this actually gives you more information than the character creation. But like I said, it'll show you kind of how leveling it works. But typically, unlocking expert or master or grandmaster, although it tends to have a bonus, like, oh, air magic ignores resistance. It also tends to unlock extra abilities like new spells. Now you can equip two-handed magical foci or dual-wield one-handed magical foci. Stuff like that. And if you're into melee stuff, you know, whatever. Probably get some cool tricks out of melee, but we're not going to really worry about melee. This is a magic and magic let's play. Of course, we've got a journal. For now, we just got to go to the chapel in Carthol. We'll see how long that takes. And let's see, there's a big map. Is there anything else to show off? World map. We are... No, that's the Crag. We start here. We start in Sorpigal. It might take a while to get to Carthol. I'm trying to remember exactly the order you visit them all. I think the Crag is the last one you visit, but I know it takes a while to get to Sea Haven as well. So the towns are spread out and blocked by... It's kind of level gated a little bit. You can't just go wherever you want. Yeah, so let's talk to some people.
New faces. Very good. I suppose you arrived with the morning tide, with that boat from the east. Welcome to Sorpigal by the sea. You're raiders, are you not? Adventurers?
Sorpigal the what? Sorpigal is the kind of boring and sunny place where heroes go to spend their old days when they become tired of the endless warring and adventuring. Me? I used to be a raider, just like you, until name's Dustin. Dunstan. I guess Skyrim came out in 2011, right? Has it really been 11 years since Skyrim? So it came out before this game. Isn't that crazy? Was it really 2011? I remember it being like 11/11/11 or something. November 11th, something like that, right? Anyway, we want to go to Karshal.
Oh, I guess the news of the current situation hasn't reached the rest of the world yet. Nobody's going in or out of Carthal, my friends. I know from a well-informed source that rebels have taken over the
Dirty
city.
rebels.
They have sealed its gates and closed the harbor while they establish a new government.
Alright, we just need to join the rebels and then we can go wide in.
Irulan is not too far from here. Too bad we don't have time for a trip there.
I don't know why someone said that. Looking to earn some gold and earn a name for yourself? Should go to the town garrison and talk to Captain Maximus. Yeah, classic Might Magic name. I heard he was looking for some muscle to hire, but I keep forgetting you're new. We'll go for a little, He joins us as a scout and basically just is going to talk to us a little bit as we travel around the town exploring. We'll see how far I can make it before the first episode's over. We want to do like hour-long episodes, give or take, so I'll try to get as much done here as we can. Interactable objects will sort of highlight when you look at them.
Small houses.
So don't worry too much. There's lots of secrets and stuff, though. Yellow liquid. Who wants to guess what yellow liquid does? Light magic. No, resistance to light magic. Most of the barrels I remember being kind of not very valuable. Like, you know, we'll definitely drink from them, but I don't remember them being particularly influential. Who goes there? We're currently investigating the disappearance of several citizens. No one leaves the town till we find out what happened. If you have complaints, take them to Commander Maximus. Okay, thanks, dude. I guess we're staying here. And I do like to highlight the map, so I will do backtracking to make the whole map look nice and fully explored. I'm sure someone will appreciate it. So there's lots of doors you can't enter. I don't think those particles mean anything, the green particles. Here we are, the town garrison barracks. Maximus should be in there somewhere. I'm not going in. In any case, I don't exactly abide by the law, you see. Once we go in there, he leaves, so we'll do some explore before that. Yeah, there's these weird, like, green particles every now and then. I don't remember if there's anything we can do with them. I think it's just random particle effects. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll figure it out. Or we'll come back and the fence will be gone. Okay. Well, we got a big town to explore. This town is actually not too huge, but it will take some looking around. So we could hire our scout here. We've already got one, but he's temporary. It does cost 200 gold, and then 2% of gold you find, just like normal. We don't really want to spend money on stuff like that right now, but, you know, cool. And gossip, sure. We'll read some gossip while we're here. I think we're living the last days of the Holy Empire, at least as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. Think about it. Elrath managed to make the whole of Ashan believe he was the most powerful dragon for 5 centuries. Even Malasa had been jealous of his pulling such a bluff. But now that this fear is gone, can the Empire endure? The colonies are already cutting themselves off, and the Empress cannot do anything about it. And what prevents the elves, nagas, or wizards from nibbling pieces of fallen giants too, eh? Alright, thanks for the amazing gossip there. Lots of story. Goblin Watchtower is Sorpigal's inn. If you're tired of sleeping on the ground or under a tent, you can enjoy the comfort of a real bed. You can even buy some food. Or maybe fish stew. We'll have a look at the tavern. So, one thing I didn't notice the first time I played that I do remember now is that occasionally there are more than a single person to talk to, and you have to actually select them. If you don't look up here, if you're just looking here and then leaving, you might think that this is all you can talk about in this building, but, you know, there's actually some more. So we can buy more food if we want to fill up to 6 gold, or to 6 food. Some places will fill up to higher food amounts. It's very much like the older Might Magics, where you spend more money to fill up to 40 food or 20 food or whatever, but we don't really have a lot of money right now. Oops, I didn't actually mean to do that. We don't have a lot of money right now anyway. And this is our first trainer. So this guy can, if you have 7 points in dagger and some money, train up to expert tier daggers. So we don't care about that one. You're curious about the name of this place. I warn you, it's quite a tale, so you better take a seat. A couple of years ago, this inn was called the Emperor's Crown, and shush you guys, I'm talking. This was before the village was attacked by a band of pirates, or should I say, goblin pirates. Okay, this is gonna take a while. That's right, my friends, a whole crew of goblins. Apparently they weren't aware that many of Sorpigal's inhabitants are former warriors, soldiers, or adventurers. Sometimes even genuine heroes come to enjoy a sunny, quiet, don't you laugh at me, retirement. And they're not fond of any kind of disturbances, huh? So the goblins, they come ashore and start attacking the villagers with their pointy sticks, and what in the name of that thing, the curvy piece of wood that's supposed to return its thrower? Anyway, before long, the goblins were rushing into this very building, not to ransack it, no, to seek shelter from the angry mob. Of course, the inn was not empty either, and the patrons did not take to the intrusion of hysterical goblins very well. It ended with a lot of broken furniture, a few dead goblins, and the rest of them running to their little boat as if Craghack himself was on their heels. Oh, and Kenji, of course. Hello there! More stories? What about Kenji? Kenji? Oh, he's our mascot. I found him hiding in my cellar a few days after the attack. He was clearly not the bravest of the bunch, but maybe a bit smarter than your average goblin. So Kenji, first opportunity he sees, he hides himself in a barrel and waits for the storm to pass. When I find him, my first reaction is to reach for my knife, right? Turns out the little guy pleads for his life, says he's just the cook. A goblin cook. I just had to see him work, so I tell him, all right, little guy, cook something. He did, and amazingly enough, it was delicious. So I thought, what are the odds? So I just renamed the inn the Goblin Watchtower, and I find myself a genuine goblin chef. Shows the dragons do have a wicked sense of humor, right? So I decided to spare him and even employ him. Of course, I taught him how to wash his hands before touching the food. All right, story time. So there's this goblin named Kenji. Want something from Kenji? Kenji busy. And turns out you can hire him. What, hire Kenji? Really? Kenji loves travel, but Kenji no great fighter like other goblin. Kenji only know meat and fish and vegito. Green stuff. Still want Kenji? Hey, you there. You're not trying to steal my chef. Not right now. I thought as much. Now, leave him alone. Kenji, you tell me if these guys bother you again. He might not actually even cost us any money, maybe. I'm sure we can hire him if we want. I believe he lets you rest without spending any food or something like that. Like he gets food for you or something. Kenji like Oscar. Oscar great baby teeth. Oscar pay Kenji to cook. Other goblins never pay Kenji. Other goblins beat Kenji. Oscar never beat Kenji. But Kenji bored. Kenji missed travels. Kenji want to feel Mother Earth beneath feet and Father Sky above head. Huh? Want something? So we might hire him, you know, maybe. I have other plans for you get 2 companions, so, you know, I got some plans. Ashan is a truly mysterious and fascinating place, don't you think? I have been exploring the western part of the continent of Thalon with a good friend of mine, while a good friend of mine has been focusing on the distant east. This Aegean Peninsula is the final part of my journey. According to some ancient atlases I found in the libraries of Al Emerald, This piece of land used to be called the Melon Peninsula long ago. I wonder why it changed its name. Too bad I'm a bit behind schedule and won't have time to solve all the mysteries myself. I spent too much time in the 7 cities, I'm afraid. But these wizards were just too interesting. Some of them even controlled the dead. Amazing. Well met, my friends. My name is Jasad. And quest time. So, you are raiders of the lost treasures, bold challengers of ancient mysteries, intrepid explorers of the great unknown and the hidden truths. Haha! Oh, how marvelous to meet you. I am indeed in great need of the services of a party like yours. You see, I think you might say, I am an explorer myself. I spend many months exploring these lands, collecting information on its astonishing and colorful denizens. But I need to leave this region in a few moons, and I'm afraid I won't have enough time to complete my assessment of the various peoples and creatures living in the peninsula. So I offer you a chance to work for me. Are you interested? Sure. Great, I see you already have a bestiary to keep track of the creatures you meet. That's perfect. All I ask is you share your findings with me once in a while. For every, say, 10 creatures, I'll offer you a reward. The more creatures, the more reward. Should you include non-animal foals like brigands or orcs? That's a good question. Let's say you can. I'd rather trim the list down on later than rather return home with incomplete knowledge. Well met, my friends. Alright, so Jasad, you know, something slightly mysterious going on about him, maybe from previous games. Okay, 40 minutes in and all we've done is gone to the inn once. Jeez. I gotta get a little bit of combat in here. There's a couple places we could get a little bit of combat in episode 1. If I, do something. That's the training center for the town garrison, but also civilians for a price. Treasure! A tiny amount of gold. But it's our gold. Empty building. I am Zale, Harbor Master of Sorpigal, and the closest you'll find to a mayor around here. Can I help? What's up? Yes, not much happened here, but that's how we like it. Nobody really knows when the town was built or by whom. A wizard once told me the name Sorpigal is very ancient. Maybe even older than Shantiri's. That guy at the Goblin Watchtower in Jasad also told me he had visited other Sorpigals before. Yeah. Some of you guys might know who Jasad is. Maybe. Ah, you arrived with the Seahawk. A fine ship she is. I've known her captain, Sir Christian, for a long time. Do you know he was planning to become an alchemist? The second eclipse forced him to enlist in the army instead. I guess the Maiden of Fate had other plans for him. A few centuries ago...
Slaves will help, but not for free.
I love it when people just butt into my narrating. A few centuries ago, Sorpigal was a smuggler's haven. Compared to the heavily fortified port of Carthel, Sorpigal was much less risky and port of entry for the peninsula. As it turns out, one of my ancestors was a smuggler himself. I recently found his old diary. Apparently there used to be a secret cove under the town. That's how they were smuggling goods in and out. My ancestor claims he hid his nest egg in that cove, in an enchanted coffer, of which I found the key. Find the coffer, we'll split the gold. Okay. Pulsing green liquid. Alright, this time we'll give it to Groth. Resistance to Earth, 1 point. Alright, we got Alden here. He can train us in some stuff. Air magic. Air magic's actually kind of interesting. So if we get early 7 points in air, we can train up to expert very easily. And then secretly on the second tab, sword, mace, and axe, which we don't care about. So, couple, you know, cool dudes and dudettes. Alright, just filling in some map. Let's see. We have a suspicious looking well here, but nothing we can do about that right now. Let me, I don't know how much of this town we can explore all in the first episode. That's the Chapel of Elrath, the Dragon of Light. Not my favorite dragon, but Sister Lysandra and her fellow Vestals can bring you back from the brink of death for a donation. So there's a fancy church with a fancy angel statue, I believe. It's not a real angel. But we have Lysandra, who can train light magic to expert. That's pretty cool. And also, I don't remember what restore your powers means. That might be like a stat reset? I don't... So... Cure is, trying to remember what all these things do. I think cure is for, like, cure poison. Maybe restoration is for curses. And then resurrection is for being dead. Something like that. Maybe restoration just heals you or something. After Uriel's deception and the part played by the Holy Inquisition, distrust of the Church has spread to the Empire. The duchies of the Griffin and Wolf are advocating a clear separation between religious and political matters. I believe it is for the better. For too long, some have been trying to make their own ambition pass as the dragon's desire, tarnishing his name. At least now, true faith in the light can be restored. And, sneakily, number 2. May Elrath brighten your day. Quest time. I have been sent from Whitecliff by the authorities of the Unicorn Duchy to investigate a series of thefts that occurred on the main road connecting Carthol and the rest of the Empire. I think I pinpointed the location of the Brigand's Den, and I'm looking for some brave souls to help. Bring justice to the bring these bandits to justice and retrieve one particular item. Sure. It will be a while before we can go here. A little while. Elrath, bless you. Let's not lose any time. Except we can't leave the city right now.
Not slaves. Will help, but not for free.
But this is someone who can find secrets, which is kind of cool. Lore Master. This is like... One of the reasons I picked Dark Magic is so that we can detect secrets. But funnily enough, you can get someone for now that can just do it for free. But they won't stick around forever. Anyway, that's that. That's 2 companions. Let's see. We can fill in our map in the middle here a little bit. I just like having a full map completion. I'm sure you guys understand. And, weaponsmith over there, yada yada. Good, good. We don't really need weapons. We're not about weapons. Temple is a gift from Duke Anton of Griffin to the town of Sorpigal. 565, whatever. Timelines. Alright, we'll go deal with that later. I just, I want to show you how combat looks before we get to the end of the episode. So
Something's coming our way. Be ready.
Apparently there's monsters around. Scout has told us that there's monsters. We've got Eileen's house. We just keep finding houses. Yes, what do you want? How do you become a paladin? Only the governor of the peninsula has the authority to dub crusaders. So that does give you a bit of an idea of, like, there are promotion quests and they can kind of tip you off on where to go. When my husband was killed and my son stolen from me, I thought of taking my own life, but Elrath found me and gave me a new purpose. I became a battle priestess, a crusader, the incarnation of the dragons of light's wrath and justice. Some crusaders have chosen the path of mercy and become paladins, the bearer of Elrath's holy light. That path is not for me, though, and never will be. All the mercy I can deliver is in the form of harsh, cold steel. Cool. And, quest. I have come...
Slaves will help, but not for free.
I have come to this region looking for my 3 escaped criminals. One of them has joined a band of highwaymen and has been taking part in attacks against the traders traveling alongside Carthalion Road. His name is Lucas, but he prefers to call himself Luke. Another one, Kirk, is reputedly a member of a pirate crew. He can probably be found in the mucket pit called the Crag. The last one joined the ranks of the Blackguard mercenaries in Carthol, who in reality is little more than cutthroats for hire, named Ripley. If you meet them during your journeys, can you give them a message? Tell them I offer them one last chance to abandon their wicked path and atone for their sins. If they don't seize this chance, do what you must. I kind of remember that this is one of those side quests that takes practically the entire game to actually do. It's kind of silly. They give it to you in the first town automatically right at the beginning, and like, if I remember correctly, you'll completely forget who gave you that quest before we ever actually complete it. Johara from the Seven Cities. Johara came from the Seven Cities ago, a member of the House of Materia, but was kicked out for some reason. If you're looking for a protective charm or talisman, there you go. This is the item shop. We can have a quick look. Ah, adventurers! I love adventurers. Always looking to buy something exotic. Almost authentic artifact. Welcome. So we can get Magical Focus Expert. That's good. We can also identify equipment for way too much money if we have anything. It's not a good deal. And like there are cool things here. Like I would say bonus damage orbs are pretty decent, and once you can equip them, better arcane focuses will be nice to have, or magical focuses. Buying some antidotes would also be maybe a good idea. We'll talk about that next episode when we're preparing for the next thing. +1 to all stats for a ton of gold, whatever. Anyway, you know, standard trade deals and a little bit of gossip. Before I was, before I left the academy, I was an alchemist of House Materia, one of the main magical orders. We have specialized in magical objects, potions, constructs, like golems or titans. We're still a small house, though. The House Eterna of Albatil holds the greatest military power, and House Anima has the greatest number of academies. But one day, I'm telling you, the alchemists will be a force to be reckoned with. Little bits of lore. There's actually a ton of lore dump in this game. It's okay. A little bit overwhelming, perhaps. Maybe I should find a way to split it up. There's this guy. How does a demon in Sheoff get his haircut? Eclipse it! Yeah, we'll talk to him every now and then for fun, I guess. Let's just head up here for some reason. Oh no, there's a spider! That's not a good start for shows off. Instantly poisoned. So, yeah, turn-based.
Now is not a good time.
You can't move. You're locked into position once you're in melee like this. I think when you're not in melee, there is sometimes you can move in combat, but not like. I think like once you take damage or something, you're kind of stuck. So you can't really kite enemies. Is what I'm trying to say. So this is how combat will tend to generally work. I will click on a spell. It'll do some damage. Nice turn-based. Unfortunately, we already got poisoned, which really sucks. Not a good deal. We can put on Celestial Armor. We'll talk more about how spells work over time, but... Yeah, 0 damage from the hit, but 5 damage from poison. And we can also do melee attacks. So, I think we got lucky that they dropped the antidote, because I have bad news for you. Poison is permanent. Once you've been poisoned, you stay poisoned until you drink an antidote. So basically, until we learn the spell Cure Poison, we're going to be burning through antidotes like crazy. Because early game, there's a lot of spiders. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it's too much poison too early, but who am I but a lowly Ankylo playing a game? Do we dare open another barrel? Blue liquid. Probably the best liquid. You're out. You can have some blue liquid. Resistant to water magic. And lots of gold up here. Actually, 150 gold. That's like one antidote. Oh, hello there. Can I help you? We got a quest. My brother Severin was a soldier, and he died a decade ago defending Castle Portmyron, against the demons. Duke Anton of Griffin, who liberated Portmyron at the end of the Second Eclipse, had a shrine erected in remembrance of all the soldiers who gave their life. Since my brother's ashes were never recovered, I took the habit of laying flowers at the shrine on the anniversary of his death. However, with the brigands roaming, I couldn't do it this year. If your travels lead you to the shrine, could you lay these flowers on it? The shrine is located about midway between here and Portmyron, a bit to the west of the main road. It looks like a small arch with several angel statues. Very simple. Carthel has been an imperial colony since the days of Brian Falcon. Some say it was a gift from the angels. Some say a lot of things. But during the last century, Carthel's culture has grown very distinct from the imperial way of life and has been increasingly subjected to the influence of the Seven Cities. I'm not really surprised they would want their independence, out of sight, out of mind, as they say. And imperial reforms. Separating the church from the state? Great, I'm all for it. Currently, the imperial throne is far too much in the mercy of the whims of the angels and their priests. I'll share with you a little known fact. The Church of Elrath manages the imperial treasure and taxes. It means that, so far, it was impossible for the Emperor to spend a single gold coin without the consent of his angelic ministers. As my father always said, never put your faith and your gold under the same roof. Alright. Story times. Now we're, I'm going to say maybe 3/4 done exploring the town.
Ha! Stupid.
But, I'm running a little bit low on time if I want to keep these under an hour. Let's see if I can finish exploring a little bit more here before we wrap it up. I mean, maybe we just go a little bit over time if it's almost enough, you know? First episode, you know, get a good finish on, good explore, so next episode we can focus on dungeons. You don't meet many dwarves this far south. Yada, yada, yada. I'm not sure Thormund's story. He's a good armorer. Armor is not something we really need a lot of in a mage playthrough. But if you're interested in buying cool armor, and to be fair, there is some things we'll want to buy because we do get some armor out of it. We just can't really wear medium and heavy armor. So, you know, at some point we might buy some of these. Or just wait till we find random magical loot, you know. But yeah, armor and weapon shops are not our primary concern. We can also repair stuff. No big deal. Oh, I can't tell you how much it pleases me to meet members of my kin here in Sorpigal. There are not many dwarves in the Aegean Peninsula. The ones you'll meet in Sea Haven and Carthel probably used to live in the southern outpost of Sudgard, before it was abandoned a couple of centuries ago. Me? I'm a stronghammer, born and raised in Grimheim. I've been crafting armor since I was a wee boy. May the fires of Akath keep your family warm and your clan prosperous. Grotham of the Deep Flames. We don't meet many rune priests in this part of the world, not since the fall of Sudgard. I don't want to impose on your time or delay your travels, but could you engrave some runes of blessing on my shop? It's kind of nice. At least there's some little call-outs to your party members. Actually, it's actually quite cool. I don't think it happens very often, but your race and class picks do make small little notes. It's kind of a neat little touch. Lore. We'll see whether or not I have the patience to read of the lore later on. For now, let's just say there's books of lore. Deal with it at another date. We don't really want to go in here until we're done sort of exploring. The first run around the town, I like to do with my my scout dude, because he tells you little bits, you know, little details. How's our map looking? We're probably more than halfway done. I can finish this in, well, not quite 2 minutes, but not too many more than 2 minutes. It's fine. It's fine. You guys, I'm sure, will survive. So, weapon shop. I mean, you know, stuff like this is pretty easy, pretty quick. Except for the gossip. Warfare expert doesn't really matter to us. Those are like special combat maneuvers, maybe some taunts and stuff in there, and of course weapons. Now again, I do think there might be a reasonable suggestion to start your mages with like bows, because we'll be able to push enemies back with gust of wind, and then you could save mana by shooting them with bows. So that's like a reasonably good theory for mages early game. But I wasn't always a weaponsmith. A few years ago, I was a soldier in Duke Oswin's unicorn army. Oswin was what you'd expect from a duke. He didn't care much about the lives of his men, but expected complete obedience. I hear he's now the main opponent in Empress Gwendolyn's politics. I'll be honest with you, the Empress made some mistakes, alright, but I shudder at the thought of an empire ruled by the likes of the Duke. Okay, cool. Good times. Thank you for having a short bit of gossip, not a long bit of gossip. I need to go clear this corner out next. Some more books we could read if we want. Yeah. Zoom, zoom. Check this corner out.
Something's coming our way. Be
Something.
ready.
I believe this will heal us to full. So we could do that. But I don't remember if they recharge or how long it takes to recharge. But maybe there's something in this barrel. Seeing as our scout was like, watch out.
This one is mine.
I wish they didn't get, like, the ambush on us like that. Because, I mean, we knew they were there. Now, we could also use 15 mana to dodge the next attack.
I feel stronger.
We'll try that. If we could push these guys back, it would be very helpful, but they're cornered, so it doesn't work. So Celestial Armor does last longer, but just dodging is pretty good trick. You know, can't get poisoned if you can't get hit. Enjoy your 5 experience. But hey, we got an antidote and nobody got poisoned, so I'll take that. House? Empty house. Maybe we'll come back later. I feel like there might be some ghosts or something. Maybe we'll come back at night. This is now a decent time because we've used most of our mana, so hey. Mana is recovered. I don't remember that one recharging very often, but we'll see. White liquid. Just trying to spread it out. Brides can have it this time. Alright. What do you got to say, kid? A few months ago, a wizard named Ibrahim arrived and moved into a house in the northwestern corner of town. He seemed like a nice enough fellow, but no one's seen him in weeks. The house is abandoned. Yeah, that's right where we were at. Empress Gwendolyn should abdicate and let more seasoned regents rule before it's too late. The Duke of Unicorn is right. Her childish reforms are tearing the Empire apart. Blah, blah, blah. As soon as her Charter of the Griffin became edict, the gates of Carthel were closed to travelers. Nobody knows what's going on inside the city, but I heard a group of rebels took control of the palace and planned to have Carthel secede from the Empire. See, it's only the beginning. Alright. Don't listen to this random kid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. City gates to the Aegean Peninsula, but we can't go yet. Currently investigating the disappearance of many citizens. Go talk to Maximus. Yeah. I'll talk to who I want to talk to. There's a little tile there that was not explored. You're welcome. If magic's your thing, don't forget to visit the Arcane Library. Here's the one we want. You won't find books of rare grimoires, which you can find like in the Academy of the Seven Cities or even Carthel, but you can find some nice spell books for rookies.
Something following us.
More? So we can learn spells, and it's just based on your, what am I trying to say? It's based on what rank you've got, what skills you've unlocked. So they'll sell certain, like, up to expert or up to novice spells if you've got the right, you know, novice expertise or whatever. You can learn whatever. I will say, like, regeneration's real good. Cure Poison also pretty nice. There's a lot of things I would like to buy early on, really, is the trouble. Whispering Shadows lets you see secrets, although I believe our temporary adventure will cover that for a little while. I'm trying to think of other ones that are really good. Dark Vision does help a little bit, but there's like 5 different ways of getting light. The ward spells are not going to be a huge priority until much later on in the game. Seeing traps. Sparks is our lowest level AoE kind of spell. But yeah, I'd say probably Cure Poison and Regeneration are top priorities. And then we want Whispering Secrets. And what we really want, and I think we can even see it here, it's in Prime Expertise. This is the one we really want. It's going to cost us 770 gold, and we need to be trained to Primordial Expertise. But identifying one item is like 300 gold. So once you learn this, you just save so much money on Identify. Like, at least in the early game, identifying is very expensive. Now, there are companions that can do it for free, but free, you still pay them. So all that said, just have a quick look at my 2. Who do I want to learn a spell here? 91. I think Drow has more mana. So I will... I'm going to get him Regeneration. I hope we can get enough money to buy Cure Poison before the first dungeon as well, but I don't know if we'll be lucky enough because you know, there's not a lot of money in the starting area. But if I can get to another 400 gold, we will definitely buy Cure Poison. But regeneration is our only, like, we only have, that's our only healing spell so far. I'm completely behind Empress Gwendolyn. She made some mistakes, of course. Some of her reforms failed, but at least she's trying. Her Charter of the Griffin aiming to separate the church from the state is not a betrayal, but a necessity. Especially after Uriel's deception. I mean, the days when we blindly trusted angels in the church are gone for good. Serpurgle is usually quiet, but these last few weeks it's grown maybe too quiet. Some inhabitants seem to have vanished into thin air, and there's that stench coming from the old well. Maybe you guys can piece together what we need to do. We still have a threat indicator. Could be outside, actually. We can't go out there, but there could be enemies out that way. Hello, horse. Red liquid? Might be might. Nope. No luck for us. This is the, whatever they call this place. Gossip about ponies. I don't understand. Why does everyone seem so obsessed with ponies and unicorns? And then not me. So for 4,000 gold, we can get Ionbar, a warhorse, pulling war machines. He's a good horse, although not exactly nice by horse standards. Hey, maybe he just doesn't like me. I wouldn't recommend trying to ride him, unless you have plans to sire children. But if you're looking for a good pack horse, 4,000 gold. We have to fire someone anyway, but it's very expensive. We don't have the money for it. And I think it just gives you more inventory space or something. It's not that big a deal. And then we've got Arthur, who one day will let us use a cart to get to other towns, but we'll have to unlock the roads first. Yes, I used to be a windsword, a soldier of Yelath, a mercenary. I served under Captain Vane and took part in the battle against Nergal the Necromancer, and something else I can't really remember. Anyway, after an arduous campaign, I decided I'd seen enough of the mercenary life and left to start my own business in a sunnier part of the world. If you want to learn more about the windswords, you should visit the commander in Sea Haven. I heard my old training officer Miranda's there. Okay, I don't know if he's got any secret backstory with him and not remembering, but maybe. Okay, can we wrap up the town explorer? Think town is looking pretty explored. We're gonna, just to wrap it up, we'll go back to the, well, we're done, like, the tour. We can wrap that up, and then next episode, we'll be ready to go right away into the first dungeon.
Yes! More glory!
They give us some stuff. Anyway, we can enter the garrison. Yeah, what do you want? Apparently, we're looking for work, and you might need some raiders. You think you're raiders, eh? Don't make me laugh. Have you ever been in a fight for your life? We've killed 2 spiders. Thank you very much. Have you ever looked an enemy in the eye as you pierced his heart with your blade? Well, 2 spiders, like I said. Stop wasting my time and go home.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, you're persistent. I'll give you that. Good. That's one of the qualities you'll need to survive as raiders. I'll tell you what. I'll give you a simple task. We'll see if you can manage it. If you can succeed, we can talk about more serious jobs. What do you say? Don't worry, I won't ask you to kill rats in a cellar, but maybe spiders in a well?
We're here to help.
A couple of villagers have disappeared lately, and my best lead is a drunkard who claims he's spotted spiders coming out of the town's well at night. I didn't believe it until I saw the 8-legged freaks with my own eyes. Nasty thing, so you and I were going to descend to that well and clear the nest. You're not afraid of a few spiders, are you? And, well, by spiders, I do mean big ones. Okay. Sure wish I had cure poison, huh? And I'm pretty sure that's all of the basic exploration in the town for now. We've got 5 antidotes. We've got our spells on our back, and because we're doing a pure mage run, the first couple levels are going to be a little bit tough. So look forward to that next episode. Don't worry, I'm very confident we will survive, but it might take us a couple naps with the rest button. And if we get 400 gold, we might come back up and buy the cure poison spell, because buying antidotes is a lot of money, and I would prefer to avoid that. Or you can go to the temple and pay them like 40 or 50 gold to cure poison, but it's a permanent status effect, does not recover over time. So anyway, that's our first episode. A little bit long, but we did manage to explore the whole town. So I think that was worth it for episode 1. I'll try to keep these under an hour long in the future, but you know how it is. There's a lot of stuff to do in these big RPGs. And if I want to read all the gossip, and I mean, there are a lot of books we could read. I actually don't know where that gets added. Lore. So, you know, there is a fair amount of lore we could read about. I may go through this at some point, but I would say it's low enough priority that we're not going to jump into that right now. And they do give you more information about spiders. You don't have to get, like, ID monster or anything. You just kill them and you learn more about them. So that's kind of nice. Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed, and wish our fine party some luck. They might need it. The All Mage Challenge run should be hopefully a lot of fun. And I'll see you guys next time for more Magic and Magic with me, BlueAnkylo.